How's it going? Welcome back. This is just your average schmo. If you're new to the channel, I hope after stumbling on this video, you'll watch it. You'll find yourself interested and want to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. If you're already a subscriber, hey, welcome back. Glad to see you again. You saw my last video, I believe it was my last video, I talked about how my parents had been going through stuff and they found a bunch of old vinyl that they were looking to get rid of, and most of them were stuff that really wouldn't have overwhelming demand. It was like Lawrence Welk and stuff like that from my grandparents' record albums. I'm sure there's still a market out there for it, but it's probably not a real big market. Not a lot of people, you know, that music at one time was the big thing, but that was, you know, back in the, you know, like the 50s. And maybe 60s. So those I didn't really take, but there were a number of albums that I saw that I thought might actually be able to sell, and actually sell for, you know, more than a few bucks. And my intent is I'm going to list them through my business, Thee OLE Treasure Isle. You can find that on Facebook. And jrymman is my username on Mercari and Poshmark. These albums, as soon as I get some actual, I'm ordering some actual shipping boxes made specifically for shipping LPs or in vinyl. Once I get some of those in, then I'll probably start listing these on my Mercari. If you look right here, you'll also see this is a Vibe Sound USB turntable. Basically, you can plug it into your laptop, your computer, and use it to just listen to vinyl, or you can opt to actually play the vinyl and then translate them into MP3s on your computer. Kind of cool. It's brand new. It's actually, I mean, it's still in the box, and let me open it up real quick. The tape has been cut. I believe my dad did open it at one time, but as you can see, it's still all packaged up. You know, this is still all done up. It's got the little disc with it, cord. So brand new. I actually have this listed right now on my Mercari for $50, which when I looked it up on Amazon, there was only a couple available, and the ones that were new were selling for about $54. So I'm selling it for, I got it listed for $50, plus I believe $7.99 shipping, FedEx shipping. So again, my username jrymman. I still don't know for sure if you can actually look me up by my username on Mercari, but if you can, if you find that, you're interested in a turntable, you can plug into your laptop. There you go. Now let's dive into. I just brought up. I got like a whole tub of vinyl from them. I just grabbed kind of the loose stack. And we'll go through them, and like I said, eventually these will be listed on Mercari. A lot of these are going to be older. I mean, that in and of itself might make them somewhat collectible to somebody that likes older music and collects vinyl. So let's just dive in. I'll actually show the album, and then I'll actually pull the. I'm actually before the other thing I want to do before I actually list them is do a good look at the vinyl to make sure there's no apparent scratches, stuff like that. If it doesn't look like there's any blemishes or anything really bad on it, then I probably won't do much more. If there is like some smudges or something like that, I may try to use like just a tissue, and I might look at maybe getting some actual like vinyl. I think they make like a vinyl cleaner that you can use to basically put on there, and then just very carefully wipe them down to get smudges and stuff off. Everybody knows anything good like that. Leave a comment below. Let me know. Obviously, any that look like they have maybe scratches on them, I'm actually going to play them and see if it's to where it skips or not. And if they're, you know, obviously, I mean, if they're in too bad a shape to where it's not really playable, then it'll basically, I'll just, you know, have to write it off and you know, let my parents know, okay, well, that one was garbage. Or it might still have a little bit of value to it if somebody, you know, if it's an album that somebody is a fan of, they might want it not so much to play, but just to actually have the album and the cover art. Okay, but if it's, you know, if it's only like one song on the album that has a skip in it or something, then, you know, obviously it can still be played. But yeah, so here's the first one. We have the Fifth Dimension Portrait. So there is the front, kind of an almost an abstract kind of a painting on the cover, and there's the back. So the inside of it, and then I'll pull the album out real quick, the vinyl. I see a little smudge here. A few little smudges here and there. It could probably stand to be wiped off. But other than that, I don't really see any scratches on it. So I'll probably look into getting some of that like vinyl, you know, something I can use to just kind of wipe them off, and I'll just wipe them all off. Unless they look absolutely perfect. Alright, next we've got, this is volumes 3 and 4. Telehouse presents the greatest hits of the century. This is from the 50s and 60s. You see, you got we got Teresa Brewer here with Music. Peggy Lee with Mr. Wonderful. Brenda Lee with I'm Sorry. Earl Grant with Ebb Tide. Louis Armstrong with Hello Dolly. Al Hibbler with Unchained Melody. I think everybody recognizes Unchained Melody. We got the Four Aces. Love is a Many Splendorous Thing. I actually recognize that song too. This has got a, you know, it looks like it is actually 2 vinyls. So it's got, you know, a number of songs on it, obviously. Let's pull these out. Alright. So the first one. Piece of done. Yeah, this looks like flawless. Absolutely nothing wrong with that vinyl. Absolutely perfect. I'm going to assume the second one is probably about the same. Yep. Absolutely flawless. A little bit of dust. Yeah, I mean these sleeves that you put them in and they come in out. I mean they don't protect from dust 100%. But yeah, those looked flawless. I almost feel like they should have made this cover a little bit bigger though. This just barely fit in there. Yeah, so I mean this is obviously, it's got a lot of probably like jazz, maybe a little bit of blues and stuff from the 50s and 60s, not really so much like traditional rock and stuff. Because I mean, if it was like regular rock from the 50s and 60s, I'd probably end up keeping it. Next, we've got the greatest love songs. from the 1950s. And then on the flip side of that, you have Golden Hits to Remember from the 1950s. So again, this is a dual LP. And these actually have the full. Oh, it's got a piece of cardboard in it too. Okay, but these actually got the full. They don't have the hole in the middle of them. It's kind of nice. That definitely helps. I do see a scratch right there. Don't look like it's real deep though, so this will be one. There's a few here and there. Maybe just surface blemishes though. It might not actually cause an issue with it playing, but that'll be one that I'll play to check. And then here is the second one. A little bit there, one there. That one's got a long scratch along it there. But again, that'll be one that I have to play and check it out. Let's see, it's got Johnny Mathis on it, Jerry Vale, Tony Bennett, Sammy Kaye. So, you know, some big names, obviously. But that'll definitely be one that I'll have to play. Make sure they don't skip. And if they do, obviously, I'll document which songs skip and so forth. All right, next we've got Chet Atkins on the RCA label. Relaxing with Chet. Songs are April in Portugal and the Chapel in Moonlight, Martha, Sardis, Say Cece, Villa, Sophisticated Lady, Nagasaki, Blues for Dr. Joe, and Yesterdays. And then on the back it's got almost kind of like a little mini biography type thing on Chet Atkins. And speaking of Chet Atkins, we've got another one. Chet Atkins, Music from Nashville, My Hometown. Oh yeah, I actually didn't pull this one out and look at it, did I? Alright, we'll look real quick. That one looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. I didn't see any scratches on it. Like this one, looks like it was originally sold for $1.49. That looks flawless. Absolutely flawless. And again, this might be one that, you know, it might only end up selling for like $2. But you know, anybody that likes old country, you know, these are, you know, even if they're not in high demand vinyl, you gotta remember, you know, this is from a days gone by, and this might not be something that would be really easy to find. You know, even on eBay, you know, there probably aren't a lot of these floating around anymore. See if we can find a date on this. $1966. This is when this was produced. I do know there's, I don't know whether it's any of the ones that I grabbed, but I know my mom said there was actually some vinyl that were from like the 30s. Next we have, you know, people like Christmas music. Now granted, you know, you don't want it this time of year. And most people even really don't like it until around Thanksgiving. You know, I myself prefer, you know, like after Thanksgiving. Say like a couple days after Thanksgiving, then start playing Christmas music. And play it up till about New Year's, and then stop. But, you know, for people that do like Christmas music, here we have Christmas Hymns and Carols with Bob Ralston. And he was one of the featured players, if you will, from the Lawrence Welk show. You know, one thing you can say, I mean, you know, older generations, I remember watching Lawrence Welk when we'd be at my my grandparents' house, especially my dad's side of the family. They were big fans, if you will, of Lawrence Welk and in the show. And I will say, you know, for the music of what it was, you know, I mean, there was a lot of gospel music on there and stuff like that. And, you know, just some, like, I guess you'd call it the pop music and jazz and stuff of the day. But it was still entertaining. And the people, the singers and the musicians that they actually had, you know, the band itself, you know, the big band that backed Lawrence Welk, I mean, it was spot on. Oh yeah, this has got a ton of songs on it. Here Comes Santa Claus, Jingle Bells, Little Town of Bethlehem, Silent Night, Joy to the World. I mean, all the right, Deck the Halls, Rudolph. Yeah. Got all the standards, and it's got a couple that like Bring a Torch. I don't remember ever hearing that one. The vinyl itself, almost flawless. It's got one light scratch right there. That might cause an issue with a couple of songs on that side. Again, that'll be one that, you know, I'll play. And the great thing is, I won't actually have to play like the whole album. I can kind of look and see where that is and just very carefully set the needle down in that area. Because to sit here and listen to all these albums all the way through would take forever. Alright, next. It's an old one. Glenn Miller. A Musical Memory by the Tex Morgan Orchestra. Glenn Miller, obviously known for the big band sound. Vinyl on this, a little smudge here and there. A couple of very superficial scratches here. I mean, those you can't even feel them. So that's probably just on a surface. This has got Swanee River, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, Green Sleeves. Yeah, of course this is going to be instrumental. Just instrumental music, probably, I mean, no vocals. This is probably an old one. I don't see a date on it. Yeah, I don't see a date. I'm guessing this is probably from like the 40s or 50s maybe. And speaking of the 40s, here we have Volume 2, the Telehouse Presents Greatest Hits of the Century from the 1940s. We've got Edie Gourmet, Judy Garland. A lot of people may not realize that she was, you know, most people know Judy Garland strictly from playing Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, the movie. But a lot of people might not realize that she was actually a very prolific singer. In particular, not only in other like Broadway productions and stuff like that, but just in general. she did music. We have Andrews Sisters, Louis Armstrong again, Blueberry Hill, Dick Haymes, Sammy Kaye, Bing Crosby, and the Mills Brothers, just to name a few. Vinyl real quick. A little scratch there. That side looks flawless. So, going backward in time, even a little bit further, here we have Volume 1 of the Greatest Hits of the Century from the 1930s. Another Louis Armstrong, Kiss to Build a Dream On, Ella Fitzgerald, Eddie Cantor, Bing Crosby, Judy Garland again with Dear Mr. Gable, Tommy Dorsey. Hell yeah. I'm a big fan of the Tommy Dorsey Orchestra. And Andrews Sisters again. You know, I'm a metalhead, first and foremost. I mean, if somebody told me you could only listen to one kind of music for the rest of your life, it'd be metal. But I do listen to country. I like older country. I don't really get into a lot of the newer stuff. There is some. But I do like jazz, and especially I like the big band music, swing music. So Tommy Dorsey Orchestra, Brian Setzer Orchestra, Atomic Fireballs, Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, Cherry Poppin' Daddies, Royal Crown Review. Absolutely love. I would love to see them live. The last time they actually came around, I didn't. Of course, as usual, I didn't have the money to buy a ticket. Couple of small superficial scratches on that side. This side looks flawless. So yeah, I have a very musical taste. I don't listen to a lot of pop music. I do like some ska, a little bit of reggae, punk music. Next, we got Tennessee Ernie Ford. The name of the album is I Can't Help It If I'm Still in Love with You. Don't you hate that? It sucks. I think anybody that's had, at least a couple relationships, and haven't we all? I mean, especially people my age. If you're approaching 50 years older or older, unless you've been blessed, like my parents that, that were, get married shortly out of high school, and they've had a happy, loving relationship, their whole lives with each other, and never even thought about going anywhere else. I think we'd all like to get to that point, right? Where you just have somebody and, that's the person you're going to be with the rest of your life. There's all those out there that do. Congratulations. That's great. But for all of us out there that have had a few relationships, I think we all can identify with, with one of your relationships ending, and it's not like those, I'm not one of those people that, if I have feelings for somebody, in relationships end, like my feelings for that woman I can't just turn them off. I can act like it, to try to cope a little bit better, right? But in reality, it doesn't. You don't just flip it off like a light switch. If you can do that, then you didn't really care for them to begin with. So I think we can all identify with you can't help it if you're still in love with someone. It's not something you can just turn off. See, album looks. Got one small thing right there. It's not even really into the actual recorded part of it. There's a little scratch there. But overall, it looks pretty good. Tennessee Ernie Ford. I think he was. Most people I think would kind of put him in kind of the old country, wouldn't you? Jealous Heart. Work Song. Take Your Girlie to the Movies. Sleeping at the Foot of the Bed. And then it's got some liner notes, like a little thing about Tennessee Army Ford. I'm gonna look for the dates. They must not have like believed in actually putting the date on these. It's actually a pretty good picture, right? Smoke a pipe. My grandpa used to smoke pipe. My mom's side of the family. Grandpa, he was always smoking a pipe. All right. Next, we've got the Mills Brothers. Can't Stop Loving You. Almost sounds like the last one there. Looks like this was resold someplace for $1.33. Sears. Or not resold. That was probably what it was originally sold for when it came out. That side looks, well, it's a little dusty. Doesn't stand to be wiped off, I think, but other than that, looks good. We got a small surface blemish. I don't really want to call it a scratch. So I'll have to at least play that part there and see if it has any issues. So, not bad. Next we got some jazz here. Yeah. Boots Randolph with saxophone there. It's the RCA Camden label. It's got Big Daddy, Yakety Sax, The Battle of New Orleans, After You've Gone, Sleepwalk, La Golondrina, So Rare, Teach Me Tonight, Bongo Band, and Sleep. And of course the big paragraph on the back. Does this have a date on it? $1964. Ugh, a lot of fingerprint smudges on here. Those will have to be cleaned off. But don't see any major scratches or anything on it. That's good. Next, we've got the greatest of Edie Arnold. Volume 1, and then on this side is Volume 2. Just open it. So, 2 albums. Little smudge on that side, just in one spot right there. Easily cleaned off. And then the second one, that side looks, one little smudge there, we'll clean off. That side looks flawless. You know, another good thing about, you know, vinyl like this is, I mean, obviously a lot of this music, if you look around enough, you might be able to find it like on, you know, in MP3 format or on a CD somewhere, but you're not likely to find like this full album on CD. You know, this is probably one from essentially from yesteryear that they just kind of stopped producing. Not a lot of people listen to this music anymore. So, I mean, it kind of makes a lot of these albums kind of collectible in their own right, because, you know, there might come a time where, you know, that name, you know, people just don't recognize the name anymore because it's so older. And you won't be able to find these music, so you know, this might be the only way you have them if you actually happen to have an old vinyl. Alright, looks like getting down to the last two here. This one is Top Star Festival 20 Dynamic Hits, Original Stars, Original Songs. So kind of a compilation album. We've got Joan Baez, the Bee Gees, Bread, Delaney and Bonnie, Neil Diamond, the Hillside Singers, the Guess Who, Aretha Franklin, the Doors, yes, Donovan, It's a Beautiful Day, Elton John, Melanie, the Osmonds, Gary Puckett, Three Dog Night, James Taylor, Rod Stewart, the Stampeders, and the Raiders. What song do they have by the Doors? In the Eye of the Sun. Kind of an obscure, more than an obscure title from the Doors. I think a lot of these songs actually might be. Oh, I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing by the Hillside Singers. I recognize that one. How Can You Mend a Broken Heart by the Bee Gees. One Bad Apple by the Osmonds. Fire and Rain, James Taylor. I recognize that one. All My Trials by Joan Baez. Let Your Love Go by Bread. I recognize that. Levon by Elton John. Don't know that one. Celia the Seals by Donovan. Until It's Time for You to Go by Neil Diamond. Share the Land by the Guess Who. Birds of a Feather by the Raiders. Once You Know and I Know by Delaney and Bonnie. Sweet City Woman by the Stampeders. I think I've recognized that one. Handbags and Glad Rags by Rod Stewart. Ring the Living Bell by Melanie. I don't even think I've ever heard of Melanie. Keep the Customer Satisfied by Gary Puckett. Aren't there times, though, you just want to... You wish you didn't have to do that? You know what I mean? I mean, in any industry, but especially like in the fast food industry, you know, sometimes people come in and they're just asses. Just total asses. And there's no reason to be that way. I mean, especially, look, if you don't like it, either go someplace else or, you know what? Go home and turn on your freaking stove, right? I mean, don't you just want to say that sometimes? I don't. Never have, never will. But everybody, I mean, I think most likely even the owners at times, as long as they've been in the business, there's probably been times when they've been like, yeah, that guy's a freaking ass. Let's see. My Way by Aretha Franklin. I wonder if that's her take on, like Frank Sinatra's My Way. I don't know. Leave me a comment below if you know. White Bird by It's a Beautiful Day and Mama Told Me Not to Come by Three Dogs Night. That's a good band, man. Three Dogs Night. Alright, let's pull it out and see. I mean, this sounds like it's a good album, right? For good, like, old classic rock. It is. It's looking kind of rough. Definitely needs cleaned off. It's got a lot of smudging on it. It's definitely got some scratches. They don't, you know, I can't actually feel them. So they might just be surface. Might not actually cause an issue with it. I'll definitely have to play it after I clean it off. Yeah. I mean, it looks a little scratched up, but I don't actually feel them. They don't feel like they're deep scratches, so it might be all right. Be a shame if it isn't. I don't know whether that's something that could be maybe resurfaced. If it's too bad, it's always a possibility too. And the last one, which actually has, that looks like some writing of maybe somebody's name, whoever maybe originally owned the album on it. So as long as somebody doesn't have a problem with that, I don't know whether maybe that might be able to actually come off with some, I don't think I have any Yeah, I don't have any alcohol pads up here. I don't know whether to be able to come off with alcohol pad or not. But you know, if somebody doesn't mind the name on there, you know, if they're actually buying it for the album itself to listen to, this might be one that somebody might be interested in. It's of the King. We've got Elvis. Frankie, I'm guessing that means Frankie Loves Johnny. So let's pull it out. It's got the solid liner on the inside. The album itself, again, other than needing to be wiped off, smudges and dust, there's no scratches. I don't see any scratches at all. Nice. Look at that dog hair. It's everywhere. Went downside of a Cocker Spaniel. He shed like crazy. Even after I gave him a haircut not too long ago. Cut it down a little bit, but yeah, he should be bald. Honestly, as much as he shed. Good pictures of the King there on the back. I know, that's good. That's a good picture of him too. And this has got Frankie and Johnny. Come along, what every woman lives for. Hard luck. Please don't stop loving me. And then side B is Down by the Riverside. And When the Saints Go Marching In. Petunia, the Gardener's Daughter. Beginner's Luck and Shout It Out. And this is from 1975. So as long as you don't mind this, I actually might try to use an alcohol pad to see if that can be taken off. I don't know. I mean, as long as it's been on there, that might not be a possibility. But yeah. So that's it. I'll be doing a couple more videos showcasing the other ones that I got, and that will be up for sale on Mercari. So if you're interested in buying them, if you like any of the older generations, might be interested in some of that older music. It'll probably be a little while before I start listing them, probably a couple weeks. Like I said, I'm going to go through and listen to the ones that need to be listened to make sure they're not messed up at all. And then clean them up a little bit. And then I'll start listing them and ordering some boxes so I can actually ship them safely and securely. I'll probably go through and kind of look them up one by one and kind of see if there are any out there that have sold or that are for sale, and then see what they're listed for, and then price accordingly. Otherwise, they might be, if I can't find an actual price on them, I might go the route of just like $10 shipped. Because when you figure that in, $10, if I take out the shipping cost for me to ship it, probably be like $3 and something. Then and after the selling fee, it'd be like $5. And that's on the albums that if I can't find anything on, or that I don't think somebody might be willing to actually pay more for. But that's just a fraction of them. I probably got, the tub probably has about quadruple that many in it. So I know there's a few more Elvis. I know there's some Johnny Cash. I think there's 1 or 2 Johnny Cash albums in there. I know those might go over pretty well. People like Johnny Cash. There is Johnny Paycheck, the Take This Job and Shove It album. I know there's a 3 Dog Night album. Maybe a couple more Elvis. Yeah, so stay tuned for that. Everybody, sorry the video was a little bit long. If you watched the end, thank you, I appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, obviously don't. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, look out for yourself and those around you, and I'll see you again soon.